Hello again. So I'm hoping that the stream is okay today. And let's check my mic's on. Yeah. Yeah. After yesterday's fiasco, I'm hoping the stream is okay today. And that we don't get the lagging video that we had yesterday. I've got my phone running it here. It's about a 30-second delay. Oh. That shouldn't happen. That might be because my phone's on. Excuse me if I look a bit red in the face. I had a laser treatment yesterday, so okay. Thinking out how to do this. So I did I don't know 50 odd alts yesterday and managed to lose the entire stream, which is really quite frustrating. So I will. My plan was to, again, I'll very quickly go through BTC and ETH. I did talk about them for about 20 minutes yesterday. I don't want to do as much today. Yes, while you didn't have the video yesterday, this is going to be annoying. And let me just turn off the phone. Trading view, close it. Don't know if it's that. Yeah, so I did talk for about 20 minutes about BTC and ETH yesterday. I don't want to do that again today because I'm still, so the comment yesterday was basically I haven't charted them enough. I've kind of left them alone over Christmas. I had a few entries and alerts that were already in for various longs and shorts on the scalp side, but I haven't really tried to do anything on the higher time frame because I didn't think much would happen over Christmas, which is the case. I mean, yesterday people were saying this drop was due to China having a possibility of bird flu or something, one of the flus reappearing, but really it was fairly unsurprising. It had left, it was a typical Monday, Tuesday setup. It left a whole load of stops from the last week and the weekend. Price went up on Monday. On Tuesday morning took out the high. This is going to be annoying. Let me just deal with that as well. Why do I always have technical difficulties? It's intensely irritating. Just tell someone to go and turn off my laptop downstairs. Yeah, so yeah, I'll quickly go through this and then, yeah, what I said yesterday on this, Ether is coming down to this. It's in this 2-day demand. It's in a kind of a weird 5-day. Bitcoin's in a 3 weeks, so I wasn't overly concerned. We have drifted lower in there now, but I haven't looked at the higher time frame. My one major point of note was on Ether. So there were two things on Ether just to be conscious of. Ether, the BTC pair did make a monthly supply here, which is not ideal. But when I compared back to the previous analysis that I did, where I was comparing the pattern here, this is broadening wedge followed by the drop and then the consolidation and the move up. When I compare back to here, this had also created a monthly supply structure, slightly different, but it did just consolidate it underneath the monthly supply before pushing it through in February. So I'm not massively concerned about the monthly supply here, but it is something to be aware of. Given that we're on this 3 month demand, it could push price lower. It doesn't have to do exactly what we did in 2019. And on the US dollar pair, the other thing to be aware of was this pattern. What's the best time frame to look at it on? Yeah, was this pattern back here, because I think this didn't come up in the stream, that we had this low put in, pump consolidation, triangle consolidation, and then this distribution move that then came and took out the triangle. And this pattern that we had here was quite similar to that. It did push much higher. This was just clearly a swing failure of the triangle, whereas this obviously kind of made a more significant higher high. Seems my YouTube video, you can see what I'm doing, which is good. Yeah, so this did make a more significant higher high, but with all these stops under here, I did have a long entry in here from before, and then I removed it yesterday because I wasn't convinced it wasn't going to take out these stops. And in this case, this came back down into that consolidation, which this doesn't have, unless it has it on a lower time frame. But yeah, so I'm not terribly surprised that we've come quite deep into here. We're still holding the 2-day demand here at the moment, but probably fairly likely we'll take out those lows on Ether, if not go lower. And we also have, you know, like I said, I don't want to do the detail, but we also have the swing failure of this high here, which isn't great. Or is it maybe also of this high, or very close to that high, if not swing failing. So yeah, we could have a range play out there, and possibly move deeper here, but like I'll get to that. And the detail, like while we're holding this weekly demand, life's okay. BTC, okay, yeah, so the only comments I had yesterday that I want to do the high time frames properly on this, we did make a 2-month supply on the US dollar dominance pair, but that obviously can still move up significantly to hit that before it potentially drops. The 4 and 5 day on BTC and US dollar dominance is just super choppy, so I didn't really want to make a call. Yes, we're consolidating in here. Ideally, I wanted a bit lower, but I don't have to get it. We did take out this low and the lows over here, so we could get a move up at this point. So yeah, just be conscious that the structures could be reversing here. However, with this new 3-week demand that we've made on BTC, CME and the US dollar pair, not on the Korea pair, we still, again, until we break this 3-week demand, I don't love it, it's a weak one, but until we break it and see a close below, we're not seeing that higher time frame reversal. But it's, you know, it's not looking ideal, but it's not confirmed yet. Nothing's confirmed. That was my only other counter thing on Ether was that the Korea pair made a 3-week demand. So the US dollar pair didn't, but the Korea pair did. But it is a very large one, so that doesn't mean, you know, this could hold this 3-week demand and have this still go potentially all the way down to here on the US dollar pair. So while it's a good thing making 3-week demand, you know, it can still move significantly lower inside it without breaking it. Still smoking. Right, yeah, so nothing else on that. And then yesterday I also went through the old and new majors, which again I'm just going to do a bigger stream on at some point. But yeah, I'll just quickly look at them so you can actually see the charts. But it was more just to show, you know, some of the levels I'm looking at. But you know, because we had this sort of very quick up move on everything, like it's made lots of little demand zones, so it's quite hard. So you just need to really see where the market is. Like, you know, trade the demand zones by all means, but just check when they hit that the market is in the right place, because there are many of them. So, you know, for example, EOS doesn't have to bounce on this 3-day, it could bounce on the lower 3-day, it could go down to the 5-day down there, etc. So you know, now it's time you can use fibs and things like that and see if you get confluence on 61 fibs on those. My other comment yesterday on the majors was that we hadn't quite hit supply on quite a few of them, and okay, well, we don't have to. I'm not loading now. Speedy. I did close a lot of charts that I had open yesterday in the hope that my internet would be better, and it seems to be so far, but ADA not loading right now. But anyway, yeah, so again, just showing you the levels on these, but I did have, like for example here on Pole, you can see it didn't quite hit the supply up there. ADA I think is one of the ones that did, although it's not loading. Let's see what the other new majors look like. These at least are loaded. Yeah, so DOT and NEAR and Atom all slightly front run that 5-day, so I wasn't sure if we could potentially get another up move before dropping down into deeper supply. That's probably what I'm expecting on these, but they don't have to. Like when in the past, when things have weakened off, I tried to use 4 and 5 days to get more aggressive entries, because waiting for weeklies in the previous, like when we had the previous drop back at the start of last year, they weren't creating weekly supplies for entry. But you can see even here, you know, if it has a big drop, it can just consolidate before dropping more. It doesn't have to go and test supply if it doesn't want to. But yeah, anyway, I think ADA and Litecoin was the only other one to hit this 5-day. Sol did as well, actually, although my alert was higher on that. But all the others had some space So it is possible they get one more run, but we'll see. Whether they come deeper into demand first, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's those. ADA's still not loading. Let me see if it loads if I change the time frame. No, ADA doesn't want to load for some reason. Okay, so alts. So I managed to do like all the numbers and half the A's yesterday, and then managed to not show any of them. I've had a few long alerts hit today. I've had one or two that hit earlier, like yesterday, that went through. I think eGold, unfortunately, which Balut shared in the channel, went through demand. What else? But yeah, just waiting for some of these to play out and waiting really for Bitcoin to resolve itself a bit better and see if it's going to consolidate at current levels before jumping back into alts. Had some really nice shorts play out though over the last week. Let me pick one of these. Okay, so back to what I did yesterday. So I'm just going to really quickly go through these because I just don't want to spend an hour, but it's just so you can see levels. So I'm using my blue list, which is 660 alts. So it's going to be a fun week or so of updating all of this, and I want to try and stream it all so you can look at all the levels if you want to, and so you can scroll back through. So starting at the beginning, baby doggy. This is not the chart I use. I use a chart that's in the B's baby doggy. I just have this in here. I think it had a bit more history maybe. So that's not charted. Mog. And again, like I did think these through a little bit yesterday, but again, I haven't done massively detailed analysis as to, you know, whether this is a lower high or a higher low. I just put the alerts in on the zones and then just watch them as they hit and do that analysis as and when the zones hit. So when you look back, you'll see my crosses are all the previous alerts. So, you know, some work really well, some work less well. In fact, Mog's a pretty good one, but obviously some you'll see are dreadful. Like, you know, for example, here is not. Still gave a scalp, that's fine, but didn't go very far before dropping deeper. But as and when these alerts hit, they go into the channel, and then we have to. Then you have to do your own analysis, or the group do their own analysis on. You know, whether they're worth taking or not, and depending on the particular chart and also on the state of the market. So here I've set an alert for 3-month demand. I'm just a bit conscious there was a 4-day in here untested and all these wicks below here, so that could go lower, and I just put that in the comment. Haven't put a short entry in because obviously we're at all-time high and we've already tested the one high time frame supply in there. Bonk. Short alert up on 3-day, 5-day supply up there. It has hit a 3-month zone here. So, you know, may just hold, but again, when an alert hits, like if I'd had an alert here previously, I then just move the alert lower. So again, that's why you'll sometimes see multiple alerts. Like here, for example, if I haven't analysed it properly, I just throw in the other alert higher, just to see what happens. So, yeah, so short up there, long down here on Bonk. BTT. This has hit 3-week demand down here, but there is a monthly a bit lower that wasn't quite tapped. So again, if it goes there, but could just hold. So a lot of these structures, there one comment, a lot of these structures look the same from yesterday. So there was a lot of them have this 5-day supply in here. They have a 2-day or a 1-day above that in some cases is tested and in others isn't. I'm just gonna, just checking no comments in the chat. So these two different supplies, some cases this wick has come into that already, and others it hasn't. And then we've got this kind of slightly nasty, weird structure, a bit like ether below, that may or may not hold, but I'm not overly confident about. So if there's a decent local demand, I'll use it, but at the most of what I'm seeing, I don't really have that at the moment. And also these alerts are mostly high time frames, so occasionally I put lower time frame, more aggressive ones. But anyway, if this drops back into the monthly demand, worth looking at again. Rats. This is just a fugly chart. So 2-month supply above an alert there and an alert at all-time low, just in case it gets a swing fail of all-time low. So the all-time low, all-time high alerts, which tend to be the black crosses, they tend to be like it may stop hunt and you can trade a swing failure, or you can breakout trade them. So that's the all-time high, all-time low ones. SHIB, apparently I haven't put any alerts on this. I'm not sure why. Maybe I forgot to, or maybe I wasn't sure about it. So I guess I can do that now. So it came off annual supply at the highs, and it's a second test of it. So this is kind of what I'm thinking through. Like, a lot of these do still have an annual supply up here. They're not necessarily the best ones because they come from the first candle. But 6 months, no 6 months. It's a 3 month demand down here that got tested. So if it's made a 3 month demand and tested it, then this could just consolidate through here and go up, or it could come back and test this monthly down below. So it's come into the 2 week demand. I think, yeah, I just didn't want to put a new alert in. It's like either it goes up from here based on this 3 month demand hit, or it doesn't. So that's, I think, why I didn't put any shorts on this. And then we have this 2 week demand down here. So I think that's worth an alert. I'm not sure why I didn't put one there. But I will put it across there. So maybe I just forgot. 2 week demand. Oops, can't type. Save. So that's 2 week demand down there. Maybe I just completely skipped through this in the last video, I'm not sure. Somehow. So we have tested, we've like come off this weekly indirect here, so we're just looking at if it's going to consolidate further through here for an up move, or it potentially could. It hasn't quite tested this zone, so it could potentially come back into this zone. But again, like, so what I'm also seeing on the alts is that they are a little bit challenging in that, so you've got this strong up move, and then we've got a correction, and then, you know, you can see generally there's a couple of things you can see happen here. You can see this be an A wave, B wave, and a C wave, and the C wave can be a triangle, or the C wave can be a zigzag. So that's why you've just got to watch these zones to see if they hold, and then know that there's a potential of that happening. If we're more aggressive, it is possible, you know, we get a more aggressive triangle and it just moves straight up like that. So there is that possibility, but this is why these structures are quite challenging, and why when people ask if I think it's alt season, I don't really say either, because I think it can be quite hard to judge. Similarly, you know, we've got this bigger picture as well. We've got this A wave here, you know, we have the big up move there. Then you've got this A wave here, and then this could potentially be a B wave, and then the C wave could be a triangle, and again would go into that zone, or the C wave could be a zigzag, which makes a lower low, and based on the annual supply, that's entirely possible, and people don't like to hear that, but it's a distinct possibility. So, and again, for these reasons, I don't really ever say I think it's alt season or whatever. Like, we just trade zones as and when they hit, and in line with what the rest of the market's doing. Anyway, Zcash. So I put an alert. So this was a bit of a tough one, I think, because it had this sort of monthly to monthly demand in here, and it's not a very strong one. Got these trend line stops. I kind of thought it's worth a local, watching that local zone if it gets tested. The risk is obviously it's coming from monthly demand, but if it takes out the stops first, then that probably is a less viable trade. But if it doesn't take out the stops, if it just bounces here, goes slowly back up into that zone, then there is a possibility that it's going to take out those stops. And, you know, may get a bounce in here, but again, like, I just don't like to put alerts where there's multiple hits already. At least my stream's saying excellent today. To be fair, yesterday it was giving me errors and I just ignored them, but it's given me errors in the past, and it's been fine. So one cat is looking pretty ugly. It had a 6 month supply up here and now has an annual supply. And again, I put an aggressive alert. This is, I think it's 4 day if it confirms, because I think it's going to confirm at the end of today. So, and these ones are a little bit risky. Like, I have seen these kind of aggressive ones fail. They're tough because really you wanted to break the low before coming back to test that. But then also on the flip side, like, I want to try and have some more aggressive short entries if possible. Like, here's a nice example of that. You know, we had a breakdown of a trend line over here, and then obviously I put in a retest short alert, and that actually had broken the low, and I put in a retest short alert there, but it went back up through to the next supply. This, on the other hand, because it's hit the 2 week supply up here, it's swing failed all those stops up there. I'm thinking it's likely to take this out, so I thought it was worth being a little more aggressive. It's also the other thing on some of these charts, just to be aware of. Some of them this week made a 3-week supply. So I'm working on the principle this 3-week supply has already been tested. It's left some stops there, so again, like this, pros and cons, there's always pros and cons on these levels. Yeah, but let's see. So I mean, it could come up and take out those stops before dropping, but it is what it is. You know, these are just alerts for watching and for trading as people want to trade them. 1 inch. So this is the last one that managed to get made on the stream yesterday. Yeah, I think this already had a 5-day supply in here that's already been tested, so it could just drop from here. I would be more bearish on this because this hasn't really hit a significant demand at the lows. So some of these, again, some of them have already gone down into this monthly zone, but others haven't. This has just bounced on a daily, so there's a much more higher chance, I think, that this is going to drop off there. However, potentially miss the initial short, so I put in another alert, you know, if we do get a run up into that 4-day supply just a bit above. But yeah, would target, I think I put it on the 2-week. Again, the other challenge with these is that, you know, we've got monthly, we've got 2-week, we've got 3-week, we've got a whole bunch, and then we've got this 4-day just above here, so it's hard to know exactly where this is going to bounce. Yeah, just set the alert and see what happens as and when the alert hits. But yeah, something like this I'd be more bearish on for a bigger move, a bigger drop. Some of the others are more challenging because this wick has already come down into the monthly demand. There's the alerts on that. A8. This could be potentially a very nice bigger drop. I think I was tossing up the alert on this. I had it down here, and then I thought, well, obviously I was partly also because I don't want to waste alerts. Like I've only got 800 of them, and I think I've used about 600 of them already, and I barely even started this. So yeah, I don't want to waste them. But also, you know, like if this is going to give an interim scalp bounce, then great. Or maybe it'll hold and just keep going back up from here if it swing fails those lows, and that's enough. So yeah, I did put a higher entry there. We did have a short entry off the 5-day supply in there. I haven't put a re-entry because it hasn't broken demand yet. So if it breaks demand, then I'd be more inclined to put a short re-entry on it. ARVE, so this is one of the stronger ones, so the main thing here to be conscious of is this created an annual demand. So this is kind of what you're looking for on the annual charts. So this is creating annual demand, and so my alert's a lot lower in it, but there is a possibility this bounces at 253 and just runs. But I don't love just using a level in isolation. I prefer to look at what it's got on the lower time frames inside. So I put the alert at the monthly inside that big annual zone, because also we are in a 3-month supply at the high. So this, again, just need to see what it does. You know, you can watch here at the 250 mark to see if it does hold, and if it does start to make a consolidation through here, it could just bounce hard straight off this annual zone. Some order lines in here. I think in the other stream I did look at the BTC pair as well, but I didn't. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I inferred from that. I think I thought it could have a bigger retracement. I think it did support me having this potential entry lower rather than the aggressive one. Having said that, though, you know, it does have this 3-day demand in here. It's already tested it once. It's got a 5-day supply that it's coming off. So I don't want to short this because it's got that annual level right there. But yeah, so if that's something you want to trade, you can certainly watch and see if it does continue to consolidate up here for a bigger move up. If it doesn't, then monthly demand down here is kind of the first place I'd start really looking for a re-entry. ACA, and this has come down through a bit more local zones today. Just a long entry down there. Yeah, this is one again something that's more challenging. Like it's got a 6-month demand here, but it's only by a hair. So yeah, again, so for that reason, I don't want to put a short on it. But I don't necessarily, obviously it hasn't bounced right off the top of the level, and I don't necessarily want to put longs without seeing a decent zone to put a long on. So this is a better zone down here, this monthly. So the monthly inside the 6-month, and then potentially look for a bigger move up there. However, I wouldn't be shorting it because of the 6-month. ACE. Another one that looks a bit more bearish, I think like one of the earlier ones that I've just put in a more aggressive. Again, this has made a 3-week supply and it might just fall from here, but you know, it does have this 4-5 day up here that hasn't been tested, so worth watching that for a possible short if it comes back there. ACH. So I think this one, yeah, I was just a bit unclear, uncertain on the levels on this. And you know, again, this is when they become very, very triangular, it becomes significantly harder because you don't. Yeah, at some point the triangle has to break, and it's just a question of when it's going to break. And so now we've obviously formed this range. This isn't the overly reliable. Actually, it's not too bad on the shorts and longs, but it likes to do like the bigger swings. So. And now come up here, we made a lower high, but we have this monthly demand, but it's already hit the monthly demand. So again, either it's going to consolidate through here and do some massive move, or we go, okay, well, it's hit the monthly demand, it hasn't managed to make a higher high, and it's going to break down the triangle. Again, we've got a more trend line stops here, double bottom here, which actually I don't know if I commented on in that. Let me see what I put in the note. No, just on a 3-day demand. Be conscious of equal lows at 1, 2, 4, 3. Yeah, so this could bounce there. I think again I was tossing up between here and down here. Now actually I think I didn't notice the equal lows there, but worth watching this 3-day just in case we get the higher low. But and again, this is just a range here, so given the fact this hasn't made a higher high, it can come lower in the range and still hold the range. ACT. Another one that could have a very, very significant drop. I did have a short in this, which hit yesterday, but it just missed the zone. So we got the alert, but it just missed the zone. So I've reset the alert in case it comes back. This is certainly worth watching for a short. You know, if a short does work out, if you can get in a decent setup. If it does work out, obviously it's a very, very big move that could happen because so it's got monthly demand here, but it's from when the exchange opened or when it started being listed. Maybe worth seeing if this has got history on Dex Screener, but then yeah, given it's listed, that isn't necessarily the most reliable level. So I've put the alert for longs like deeper down inside it, but I mean, I guess even if that's a profit target from a short up here, that's a pretty good outcome. So worth watching that if it gets the retest, or if you get another lower entry. Here again, 3-month demand, weekly demand, and then 3-month demand in here, so that's alerted, and then another up here if we get the short off the 3-day supply. Fairly clean. These are the cleaner ones I like because you're likely to get, like, I'm not necessarily looking for the massive swings, but you're certainly likely to get the scalps off these zones at a minimum. ADR I'm not doing because that's part of the new and old majors stuff. ADEX, I quite like this chart actually. This was a very nice sideways consolidation, and it's made a 6-month demand. Again, not the strongest one, but slightly better than the one we saw before. But I think this is worth watching for the possibility of a big move. ADEX has been around a really long time. I was quite surprised to see it on futures actually. But I remember I used to chart this long time ago, but this is actually only a 2021 chart. I'm pretty sure I used to chart this back in like 2017, 2018, so maybe it's got more history. Should probably check actually. I won't do that now, but this, do a check for yourselves that this hasn't got more history. I've got a feeling it was on Bittrex, so maybe the history has now just disappeared. Let me see if the Bittrex chart is still here. We did have them saved for a long time, but no. What about Gate? The Gate I think hasn't even been around that long, unless it's a different ADEX, that's the other possibility. But yeah, I think some of the Bittrex charts were still there, so I don't know, maybe you just can't search for them anymore. If I look in my order list, maybe I'll find them. But anyway, assuming this is all the history we're working with, this is like, it's got a 6-month demand coming in here, it's got the weekly just below that, certainly watch that for a long, and that's possibly a long to hold, given it's got supply that's been tested, just this wick up here. If the market's in the right place, it could be quite a nice move. Maybe too aggressive on this, you might want to look at where the 61 fib is. AERGO. Another one with 6-month demand, but not a very solid one. And again, just a weekly in there, so 2 weekly demand there that could get tested, worth watching. A lot of wicks above, so again I haven't put a short entry on this because there's no clean demand above, but it is coming off 3 months supply, so again just bouncing between. And I think this I highlighted previously as well, like some of these I just don't like that they didn't hit these zones properly here, that the wicks came close but not quite. I mean, maybe on other exchanges with more volume than MEXC, for example, it has hit this zone, but this still just makes me a little bit nervous that we could get a bigger dip on some of these down into those zones that were missed. But, you know, for the sake of scalps and having immediate entries, sticking with the immediate consolidation, and if we're potentially good, we've got a little local up move, is this going to give us another up? AERO, this is something that's starting to look a little bit uglier. And again, the 5-day supply has already been tested, so potentially missed it. But have put an alert higher in case it does get another bounce off this weekly demand to give another short entry. But I like this for a short down into monthly demand. It's come up, it hasn't quite taken out the high. So again, that's possibly it could do another run to take out the high because it hasn't taken the stops off there. But again, this is a CoinEx chart, maybe it has on futures. I think these are things just to check yourself. Also has a 2-month demand here. So again, it has bounced off the top of that 2-month demand there, oh, not quite again. But the local structure is just starting to look a little bit more bearish. So while supply and demand is still saying bullish, holding this zone and consolidation, this is just starting to look a little more bearish, at least for a move down into there, if not lower, if the whole market goes lower. AVO, another one that looks more bearish, so made a new 3-week supply, may not come back for this, but if it does, then looking for a short there. And then I've also alerted the low, let's put across there, for a possible either swing fail or breakdown retest short entry. AGI, this is one of very few actually made a monthly supply, or very few, given I've only done half the A's, there might be a lot more of them later. But yeah, so come off monthly supply here, made a new monthly supply, so obviously I've missed the immediate entry on monthly supply there, so I put in another possible entry on 5-day, 4-day, 5-day supply inside the monthly there, and also a 3-week by the looks of it. Yeah, so there is a 3-week supply in there, and then 4-5-day just above, so those are definitely worth watching for shorts on this, given it's got the monthly supply. On the basis of monthly supply, no local shorts on demand here because the risk reward isn't good enough, and hopefully on the short side this might give a bigger move all the way down to here if you're willing to hold that long. Let's put back in some of my zones. Okay, this is another one made a 6-month demand, so I put it on the 5-day. I think there's an alert there on the 5-day demand. Yeah, so there's a 5-day here just at the base of this up move, but there's a 6-month inside that. So again, there's a bit of chop through this. So the 6 months, you need to be conscious of these 6 months, like it can go deeper because of all these choppy wicks throughout and because of the mishmash of 3-weekly zones. This is not clean PA, but this 5-day is a possibility being at the start of the consolidation. Looking there like it might create. So if it creates a 4-day supply, you could potentially get a short there, if that's what you want to do. But at the moment, something when it's a bit more strong like this, I don't think it's worth really looking for shorts when there is other charts that look significantly weaker. AI16Z ELIZA is looking quite bearish. Obviously based on this, but I've been trading a bit of the Solana shitcoin, so this is going to have history on Solana, so I'm not putting any alerts on this right now, because I would need to look at that chart to see if there's possibility of demand or whatever, and I will have a look at that another time, but yeah, I just don't want to do too much if the history is not here, but I'm pretty sure the history exists. I know it's confusing because I know AI16Z exists and I know ELIZA exists, but I'm not sure if ELIZA is the same as AI16Z ELIZA. Anyway, Solana shitcoins are just too stressful. Okay, so AI16Z also has more history on Solana, but has got a reasonable amount of history here, so I've just thrown in a weekly demand alert there. This 2 months is more likely to be unreliable due to that history on DEX screener being longer. But yeah, worth watching that weekly demand if you get a retest. AIDOGE, I think this is only on Blowfin. Yeah. So anyone who trades Blowfin can look for a short in here, and it has made a monthly supply, I think, and I think it's come off it already. Yeah, so it's made a monthly. So I've lost some of my drawings from yesterday, but maybe not. So it's made a monthly supply and has already rejected off it. So this is, yeah, definitely a short bias. If it comes up a bit higher in that zone, then great, get a better entry. If it doesn't, then this is potentially going to drop from here. I think I didn't put a long, I mean, there is certainly a viable long entry if it gets down here, but like I said before, in the interest of not wasting alerts, and given this was only Blowfin, and I don't know how many people are trading Blowfin, like I just haven't put an entry, haven't put an alert all the way down there as yet, but maybe I will later. Here we've got 3 week, 1 month demand inside 2 months, so yeah, this has made a 2 month demand, and it's again, what history has this got? And I don't know, like if more happens up here in previous charts. It's too much to look at if I go off and research the detail of every coin's history, and it's just things I will do or can do as and when zones are hit. So 3 week, 1 month demand inside 2 month. Worth watching for a long in here. That again, don't love the fact that it hasn't actually hit this zone at the low there. But yeah, so it's possible, and also this is not a significant break of this high. So it is possible that this does just run through this zone. I'm leaving the alert purely because it's a month, 1 month, 2 month. You know, again, there's risks I've highlighted before. We've got the stops below here. So yes, but what I would hope at least, you know, even if this is going to break down and go for the stops on something like this, I would kind of hope that at least we get a bounce first, even if that then happens afterwards. And then, you know, that's a tradable bounce, and then if it does go to the moon, great, you're in the trade. And if it doesn't, it comes back and goes for these stops, then, can I just delete the trend line? Yeah. If it does come back and goes for these stops, then so be it. And then also potentially you're looking at a bigger breakdown once it's broken that monthly 2 monthly demand. AI didn't quite hit my monthly alert above. I think that was in there before. And then I was also so this is one of the more aggressive entries I put in, just because AI is kind of the narrative. There's a 3-day demand here and there's a 4-day just inside, and it kind of made a 3 week very poorly, but by a hair. But yeah, so I thought worth just seeing if this can get another bounce up into the supply there. But AI is very much the narrative at the moment, so worth keeping an eye on those. And also that has, let me just check again. Yeah, so this also has come into the monthly demand at the low here. So yeah, a lot of the coins, this is also one of the stronger ones. So like you'll see some of the alerts that I put in on this 5-day supply. So this obviously did reject the 5-day, but only for a small time before moving higher. So this has hit the monthly, we've got a monthly demand at the lows, it's tested into that. So it's possible this zone fails, this monthly supply, and that this has now just started a new uptrend here. But as I say, I just put in the alerts and we just watch the zones as and when they hit. But yeah, worth watching this for possible longs given it the AI narrative. But again, check history if there's more history on that I'm not being across. AIXBT, another new listing, but I think I did find, so some of the Radium or Uniswap stuff is on TradingView, so and it's fairly nasty and choppy on this, and I think I was just being a bit conservative, just going, okay, there's a weekly demand at the bottom here, it's at the base of this sort of significant move up. There's 5-day just above that, there's 4-day inside, and then there's a 3-day. So, you know, this could be too conservative. You could watch here on the 3-day, but also just when you get this level of chop, you can even watch on the daily. You know, so there's daily demand is the first one. This has actually made a daily supply now as of yesterday. So I'm actually going to put a short in on this as well. Not the world's strongest short but it's got some space to demand, but I think it's worth watching for a short on this here. So So more aggressive short on that. So possible short entry on AIXBT, and then at least you could take that short down to here, and you know, if you're watching this, you could get a bounce on this through here, and my alert's just simply more conservative because there's so much chop here, and also because of the new listing. So you know, when something's newly listed, it can just take off for a bit and then it can just die, and it may not even bounce here because that weekly isn't going to exist, I don't think. Oh, actually it has a weekly, interesting. So let me look at this quickly. So weekly 3073 on MEXC chart. So actually that's up here. So yeah, it just makes it quite challenging because, you know, the MEXC chart has weekly, yeah, around there, whereas this doesn't really have anything around there. It's got a 3-day, like maybe I'll move the alert up to 3-day in case that weekly holds on MEXC chart. Let me see what the 3-day looks like. So there's nothing there on the 3-day, but there is a 2-day in there. So there's a 2-day on the weekly, so I think it's worth considering this as this 3-day entry a little bit higher here. Just because it's around the same level as the other chart. Anyway, so moving on to AKT. Let me just light another cigarette. I think maybe this is a better way to do the streams. I have to think about that once I've got to where I'm up to. I think it was ALGO, so it's not much further now. Okay, so 5-day supply up here, monthly demand down here that are already hit. I've moved the alert a little bit lower for the 2-week inside the monthly in case we come back. So again, just trading kind of the nice swings on this. Again, did move the alert, so this was 4-day, 5-day supply, and then I just moved in case it ran through. I just moved the alert up to 3-day supply up there. So yeah, possible short entry here, possible long entry down here, and then this sort of messy thing in the middle that is not very clear. Could make a 2-day supply in here if it confirms that by the end of the day. Could give a re-entry on that. But again, just these triangles, just in the corrections, is just a lot more challenging. ALCX, okay, I had the gate chart, maybe I had a little bit more history. I think I've just copied that onto the Binance chart here that I'm using. Okay, so yeah, this has hit a monthly supply up here, so like I'm sort of bearish biased. I think it was the first hit on monthly. Let me just check. No, it wasn't. So, well, it's the first hit on the new monthly, but this is the original monthly, so it's actually the second hit. So again, this is just a bit of a choppy sideways range here. It's got a 2-week and 1-month demand down there, so that's certainly worth looking for longs. And then the same 5-day that so many of the other charts have, that 5-4-day supply that could give a re-entry if it gets a retest. So, and again, on these 5-day, 4-day supplies, like don't take these if they don't take these if they test after this. So that's kind of what I've been saying in the group, is that if we come down into monthly demand first, then don't take these. I saw 1 or 2 break out, but then they were also called by pump groups. Yeah, they're much more likely to break. Yeah, so sorry, I lost my train of thought for a minute then. So obviously, like, so if this is the overall bottom, we've now had the second hit on supply up here, or it's come up again for that test. So we've got this, we've got this, we've got a pullback. Then we've got a next up move. If this monthly demand holds, and again, we've still got that risk of the trend line stops under here, but if this monthly demand holds, then we're potentially looking at that bigger move. And that doesn't mean, you know, even if we come here, we might get a rejection off here that gives something scalpable. But then also what we can see is if the market's suddenly super strong, it's just going to run straight through that zone. And they're high enough time frame, they're not dailies or 2 days, they're 4 or 5 days. So I think they're kind of worth considering. And again, if you look in contrast, for example, this kind of structure, that had a 4 or 5 day supply in here, and it came down for quite a few, like this is 4 or 5 day candles, so you know there was about 5 or 6 of them, wicked up into there and then got a big move down. So, you know, again, it's still possible this monthly supply plays out. It's all probability. It's still possible that this plays out for a lower low, which it hasn't yet. So it's come up, but it's come up almost to the top and still hasn't managed to make a lower low. So I think this, you know, it's fair to say this monthly supply is weak. But then it also made a new monthly supply, which had a decent drop off it. And that's what it's testing now. So again, triangle, just the bigger picture is a triangle. And you're just waiting for it to break whichever direction it wants to break, but trade the triangle until it breaks. So that's that. ALEO. Okay, so this made a monthly supply up here and also a 3 week, so that's certainly worth looking for a short if it comes up there. I don't know if there's anything lower time frame. So again, some of these that really just do look ugly. Excuse me. This is going to make a 4-day supply today. So there's no reason you can't just FOMO short on this 4-day supply. And again, I don't know what this coin is, but worth checking Dex Screener in case it's got some history and it's about to hit a support or something. You know, and it's because it's difficult. I think I've done that. I have done that a couple of times up there, just looking for the aggressive shorts on it, you know, but sometimes you can just see, oh, it's going to just do a slightly bigger consolidation before more down. And ALGO, oh no, there's a few more to do here. Actually, it was AND that I stopped at yesterday. ALGO is obviously one of the stronger ones now, like it had was one of the US coins, which I did. So I did chart all the US coins recently. I still need to update them, I think, again for these annual zones and things like that. But yeah, you can go back and look at that video if you want to look at the US list. So this has made, this is a little bit tough still because we're still in annual supply. See, so it has made a 6-month demand. So at the moment I've got the 6-month demand alerted. So again, just the very high time frame here, 6-month demand's alerted down here, 3-month supplies alerted up there. And there's just some levels, so it could, there's a 3-month level there and the 2-month level coincides with the 6-month. There's a 3-month level a little bit higher. So hopefully it'll come down into this 6-month level for us. That would be a super nice trade if it does. But this is kind of, yeah, one of the ones that's had quite a nice breakout and it's in a much more clean uptrend. So the two sort of possible long entries that I would say are high probability are on the 6-month here, and I think there's a daily obviously right at the top of that there, or a 2-day. Or if it comes down to the base, to this 3-week, 1-month demand at the base down here. And then, yeah, the next possible short entry would be 3-month supply up there. I'm actually going to delete that alert because I'm going to have to put that, I'll put it back in if it comes back up, if it starts to move up, just because it's a bit too far away. And I don't want to waste the alerts. Alice. Another one's a bit more choppy and just like very triangle-y, same 5-day supply alerted in there, and then for all-time low. And again, there's just, I think I was tossing up at re-entries in here, like it does have monthly demand here, but it's now like trapped also. I think, yeah, so I was thinking maybe because it's got this monthly demand, but then it made a 3-week supply, and it's kind of rejecting off that yesterday. So just a bit too choppy on Alice 3 here for me, and again, the stops here below could get taken out. ALPACA. One of the ones, again, I'm more bearish on. It's got an annual supply, which rejected, gave a really nice short there, made a lower low. It's come back and tested, and it's actually taken out that high. But I'm definitely more bearish on this, so it's worth taking 5-day supply short there if it hits. Yeah, it's also got a couple of 6-month supplies. Again, there's a possibility of a reverse, like it is. It's obviously kind of starting to go into a sideways range, but until we see this 6-month supply break, it's not really worth looking for high time frame longs, particularly on this, I don't think. Perhaps if it comes down and tests this low, if it holds this for a decent move, then great, then maybe you'll get the higher low. But until then, I would wait at least for that low to be taken out on the basis this high got swing failed. Alpha. So 2-week supply up there, I think just got missed. Not sure why I haven't pulled that down into the 5-day there. Let me just think about that again quickly. So it's in a bit of chop in 3-month supply. Didn't make a monthly demand. That could be worth a short in that 5-day, I think. And again, some of them, some of them I'm trying to put more aggressive. I try not to put more than 2 alerts on each one, so I don't waste my alerts. And then some of them I put more aggressive, and some I put less aggressive, because also I use these alerts as an indicator of what the market's doing as a whole. Like if a whole load of long alerts hits, then I know the market is starting getting ready for a macro long. And if a whole load of short alerts hit, then I know the market's starting to look for a reverse, or at least over the week or two following that flurry of alerts that I tend to have. Let's see, Bitcoin's coming down again a bit. Yeah, maybe this was just a little bit too more choppy than I liked it. But there is a possibility of a short on that 5-day supply there, I think, yeah, just because of the weekly demand, it might, it could do another run, and I think it's worth having some alerts that are further away, because this 2-week up here wasn't tested. And the same down at the lows, it's just had a few too many tests down here now, so if it does come down, then a very distinct possibility it breaks down and potentially all the way down. Has a 2-week demand down here, so it could just take out that low, but cross that bridge when we come to it. And I think also, yeah, I was looking at these orange levels yesterday, so this sort of range and the mid-range, and this, this has been used as support multiple times, and then resistance, and it's coming back into, if it's resistance on this, then we shouldn't really get another move, I don't think, into that 5-day. Anyway, I'll just leave that as is, so we've got a less aggressive alert on that one. Similar here, ALF. Another one that's challenging, it's got a 5-day demand down there, but again, I've left the alert slightly more conservatively on the 3-month just to get some range on the alerts. And then it's got a 2-day supply up there. I probably wouldn't expect it to go back up there now. It's made a 2-month supply. Or actually, it had a 2-month supply and it's wicked through it. Yeah, I think I would want to see, so yeah, we've got a nice short at the top there, but then, long re-entries obviously are now failing, and this was the challenge with these up moves that we had, that they were strong. We had a strong few weeks, but a lot of them ended up on swing failures of the monthly zone. This is a slightly different structure to others, but it still has a 2 monthly zone there, and just ended up as a swing failure, coming back below. So I think that's why I've left the zone in as well. So we may or may not get back up here, and very possibly we won't go anywhere near that now. I think there was just too much chop in the middle. Oops. So when you've got chop like this, what you can look at is so you'll get either a move into here, so that you'll have the big drop, and then the last consolidation before it starts drifting down from there is a zone that's worth watching. But it's challenging, you've got daily here, you've got daily here, you've got daily here, you've got an untested daily at the top, so, or 2-day in fact up there. And obviously we don't know how much it will retrace. We want to be shorting at a discount, so if this is the price move down, we would, from a discount perspective, you're looking at the fib. This is the discount area, 61 and above. I mean, on the linear scale it's going to be higher, in fact, in that case. But yeah, that's where you're looking for shorts from a discount perspective, but you potentially miss it if there's more aggressive shorts. So yes, you can short in that daily if you want. That one I probably wouldn't, because we're far too close to possible support, and you just need to see the strength of the bounce. But yeah, from alert perspective, I'm on the conservative side, conservative on the long side as well. ALPINE. So 1-day supply there, but also 2-weekly, 2-weekly level in there. Okay, so it had already rejected off the 2-week supply in here, and I don't really know, I haven't got that drawn in because that would make my life a bit easier. Sometimes I don't draw them when they're just absolutely massive zones like that, because my whole chart is all one colour. So yeah, it's come off 3-month supply at the high. It's got this trend line, something like this I expect to break down. I actually thought I put an alert on the trend line yesterday. No, maybe I didn't. Yeah, so again, these trend lines are challenging. Like, I have alerted some of these trend lines, and sometimes they work well. They tend to work better, I think, at highs on a breakdown rather than at lows, because at lows people are looking at this thinking, oh, this is going to be a long we're at support. So, you know, I can see actually this coin, you know, it's got a nice trend line here, but then it still went up off that trend line, so this could still go up, but I think I went with on this rather than doing a trend line breakdown because of the fact it could just bounce anywhere in here if it wants. It's not necessarily going to be a good trend line short. I think I went okay, but it's actually going to have a one-day supply there, so it might break this trend line and then come back and test that before the drop. But that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a trend line break, look for demand to break, trend line to break, and then look to short whatever new supply has been made. Alt. This is one of those strange charts where MXC sort of delists it for a period of time and then relists it when everybody else suddenly becomes interested in it. I get slightly more aggressive on this. You know, and it's just, obviously it's a weird chart anyway with this gap. But yeah, it is in monthly demand, bounced off the weekly inside it, but not very strongly. So worth watching due to the monthly demand. Worth watching to see if this gets a run off a higher low in here, 5-day demand, I guess, 4-day or 5-day. Yes, okay, so it's got a 5-day there, so it has already bounced off the 4-day with these wicks. It's got a 5-day there, so again, just worth watching that, and worth watching the 5-day supply. Again, it's a relatively clean chart. This has had a decent drop off that 5-day supply, so if it comes back and retests there, it's more likely to have a reaction. And finally, from what I did yesterday, which is good because my voice is about to give out, AMB. So I think this is at the point I realised the string was dead. So I don't actually know if I finished this chart, but yeah, so I did put an alert on the 5-day supply up there again, like the last chart, decent drop off there, but still in monthly demand. So it's had the initial bounce off and not a good monthly demand because of this chop through here, hasn't really got through supply, and has also just done a massive swing failure. This is what I was talking about a minute ago, is a massive swing failure of this monthly zone. And also closed, in this case, it had a 6-month supply and it's also closed back below there. So I'm certainly more bearish on this. It's a pity. I remember thinking this had actually real potential. Like I think back here, you can see I was like really kind of long biased here because I think it had the 6-month, that was 6 months. Yeah, it had a 6-month demand at that point, or it looked like it might. Let me check. No. So it never made the 6-month demand, but I think it looked like it was going to. So I was quite biased to longs on this, and obviously did get some good ones in that run there, but then it started to break down. The re-entries didn't work well off what would have been monthly demand, and then we just broke down and broke the lows again. Excuse me. Yeah, so probably look, it's worth. I think it's worth an alert for all-time low on that, because this is now certainly, I think, at the point that if it gets the breakdown here, it's going to be a big breakdown because it's consolidated here for so long. So it works both ways. People talk about the box, so you're talking about your box. This is your consolidation box. You can do it from there, or even if you just draw it from that high. This is your consolidation box. And people talk about the box, if we start to see the break up from the box, then we get a big move. It's how many 2-year consolidation on this. I feel like there's more history. I think there was another chart actually that might have been delisted or discontinued. I feel like I had another chart on this that gave me more history. And I think that's why I was more biased to longs here. I need to again try and find that, try and see if I can find that, see what happened to it. I guess it was delisted, which is why it's now gone. But yeah, so the same applies on this consolidation. If we have this long a range and if it's going to break down, then it's potentially going to have a big breakdown at this point. So given this hasn't managed to break out off this monthly, unless this really gets a strong move off this monthly with the 6-month supply, I'm not confident, and this is potentially going to now do a bigger breakdown, particularly having stop hunted up here. I would expect these lows to get stop hunted, probably all of them. Okay, so that's it. AMP's next, and I haven't updated this, so I hope that's useful, and in fact might actually be more useful than just seeing me chart without sound, but the problem is I can't talk like this indefinitely. But I might consider, so I'll go back to no mic and charting this afternoon, and then maybe I'll see tomorrow, maybe I can do the same run through. So that took me an hour, probably a bit longer than I want, but maybe I can do the verbal run through. I'll see what people in the group think. Maybe I can do the verbal run through of charts, of the charts I've charted this afternoon, tomorrow morning at the start of the next stream. I'll consider it. I'll see how time consuming it may be. Anyway, I hope that's useful. Questions in chat as usual. Let me see if there's any comments that I need to look at now. No, nothing so far. But yeah, I hope that's useful, and I hope it's actually made it to YouTube effectively. I'm just going to have a quick break, and then I will come back and start charting more new things. I'm back. I finished the A's. Woohoo! Long way to go. I don't know how many the A's make up of the whole thing. I'll have a look later. I just thought I would have a quick talk about them. They're really mixed, and I quite like that because then at least we get some variety in the market. Overall, most of them are just kind of in these ranges like this. Some of them have made a yearly supply, and some of them have made a yearly demand, and some of them made 6 months, etc. But they're not strong, and many of them, so it's kind of challenging. But again, just still in this range. And it really is just a question now of, are we going to hold these demands here, or is this now moving lower? You know, a lot of things off lower highs. On the monthlies, like, I really don't like that so many of these have swing failed the monthly supply here. So yeah, I think there's, I mean, okay, they did swing fail the low here, but yeah, still quite inconsistent. Bitcoin's like dumping again as I'm doing this, so it's the other reason I thought I'd like have a chat and see where Bitcoin's at. But yeah, anyway, those alts are kind of mixed, so I've got supplies and demands on all of them. Okay, this is kind of what I expected on Ether, which is what I said yesterday, and at the start of this stream, so that's good. At least good analysis there. Always happy when the analysis is good. About to hit the, just deleted that by mistake, about to hit the 78 fib on this, but yeah, there's not really good demand down here. Just delete some of these levels that have been run through now. But yeah, nothing overly surprising on this really. For the start of the week and the start of the year, like, it was very unlikely to be going up only from the start of the year, and it just left too many stops down here. So for it to run through all these is not surprising at all. And yeah, I really need to get to doing the bigger updates for what these charts are looking like as a whole. But yeah, obviously I haven't thought about what I was going to say at this point. Anyway, I'm just looking at those, and let me have a quick look at where, so US dollar dominance, it's obviously coming quite deep into that 3-week demand now, may or may not take out the low and flip it. Actually, it's looking fairly likely that it might take out the low on CME. US dollar dominance, so we've got a monthly level just here, a bit above, which got tested but last year, before it was actually, oh no, it was a monthly at that stage. But yeah, I'm just looking for closes on this. So okay, we had this 5-day demand in here, but then we also had a 5-day supply, so we just need the closes to kind of not be a range anymore, and then we can be more confident of direction, at least temporarily, maybe until it gets up to here or whatever, if it closes above. And whether Bitcoin's going to give us a bounce now and a higher low remains to be seen. This has obviously left some equal highs here on different time frames. It's got a daily demand now down here. So we'll be looking for the retest of that. But yeah, still in the range, even though Bitcoin feels fairly horrible and it's a fairly aggressive move. I have to look at what the ETFs have done as well. Like, were they selling? Let me have a quick look at that. Were the ETFs selling yesterday? So 7th. Yeah, okay, so we had BlackRock still buying, but the others all selling, actually Grayscale, so it negated all the BlackRock pretty much. We had some selling at the start, buying at the start of the week on Monday, and then yeah, big sell off yesterday, but BlackRock still buying. Oh, I need to take off this text thing at the top of the screen. Hide that. BlackRock still buying, and then all the others, Grayscale, Fidelity, Bitwise, etc., all selling yesterday. So that makes this very unsurprising. Oh, and let's just look at Ether ETF. Probably going to be the same scenario. I'm seeing alts, quite a few of my alts alert hits. I mean, Ether doesn't have much ETF flow anyway, but yeah, some selling from Fidelity yesterday, and no buying. And let me have a quick look at the stocks and see if they're also dropping. Yeah, so a bit of a drop on the Nasdaq. and S&P. So yeah, that's just kind of mirroring what Bitcoin's doing at the moment, but they still have weekly demands here. Just a question of whether they're going to drop a lot deeper into them. This is looking a bit ropey on Nasdaq, I have to say. But you know, it's still just a triangle for now, so it could still break up. I'm not across really what these are doing right now. Yeah, just looking to see if Bitcoin's going to give us a bounce, really. And then I can, if we break down the range, so we've got all the stops under there. So yeah, you're looking for, the things I was looking for on the Bitcoin chart were stop hunt under this low, or stop hunt somewhere either under the bottom of this or somewhere in this range. I think I've got alerts saying, yeah, look for swing failures coming around there. Possibly would be nice actually, this 90k level on daily level on CME, which would be slightly lower on Bitcoin because of the premium, which is currently, it's gotten low, $200, $250. So 90k and then slightly lower than that, so 98.80 on 88.80, sorry. No, my brain isn't working. No, 89.800 or so on this, so that would be a little bit higher, but somewhere in that range there. And then hopefully that will coincide with something decent on the career pair as well. And then yeah, just watching now to see if we're going to get a breakdown on Bitcoin or breakout on the US dollar tether pair. So alts have been, I've had quite a few alerts hit, so let's just update those so you can see them while we're here. So these are some of the ones that hit yesterday, which obviously now, so F, for example, here has just run straight through that 3-day, and potentially going for a low there. And Cow has also run, Lumia's running into the zone, but not necessarily broken. Cow looks like it's going to break, or it has broken that 2-day now. So yeah, some of the earlier alerts do tend to cause problems if the whole market's dropping. So I tend to tell the group not to trade the early alerts, but then to wait until quite a few of them. We normally have 2 waves of alerts hitting, where a whole bunch hit, and then a day or so later a whole bunch more will hit, or some time later, and then that's normally the signal for the reversal. But anyway, let's have a look at what the new ones are. I think I updated all of these. Blur was a new one that I reset. So Blur came earlier, but I reset it because it was a bit early, but it's now hit the zone. Cow's gone through, so I'll get rid of that for now. Where are we? Ape, one of the ones I would have just set. Oh no, excuse me, Ape, yeah, that was a short entry actually, but it went off by mistake, so ignore that. GLQ. So we've got GLQ. So all these, also what I've said to the group is all these are now quite old alerts. So I've also said don't take them too much to heart right now. G gave a really nice short entry yesterday. Update that. Put spec on there now. So this is obviously an alert that's just hit previously, or been very close to hitting previously. So maybe again less reliable. Delete some of the stuff there. So what was spec? Oh, it's 3-day demand, so hold on. Yeah, so that's an alert I would have wanted to hit a long time ago, but that's fine, it is what it is. F has died, so spec, blur, Mudeng. Now hitting a weekly. So obviously, yeah, don't be looking for longs. You can look at some of these later if Bitcoin settles. But baby doggy, baby doge, baby doggy, coming down into 4-day demand there, and looks like there's a 3-month on that too. And AXS I was just doing loose, probably a highly yeah, that's a very tenuous one. I don't know, I haven't called it tenuous, but it is tenuous. TLM. And then Perp is the last one, but I need to add these to my so I have separate watch lists for the alerts. So, and I share them with the group so they can go back and look at the ones that have hit and just keep track of them a bit more easily because they're all coming through at the speed of light in the channel. Okay, so those, Lumia's already a bit deep in that, so I might just switch Lumia out with the newer one, perp. Yeah, so all these are all the charts that need to be updated, but you can see got some old zones in there on Baby Doggy. Here we've got Doggy a really nice short actually on that swing failure, the high up there. That's why I set those alerts, like I said earlier, on the all-time high, on all-time low levels, because they can either give amazing swing failures or yeah, nice breakout entries. In this case, a swing failure. So and it was TLM I already added to the list. Perp was the one I wanted to add. So perhaps also another one that swing failed the monthly there, so gave you obviously would have had an alert on the monthly zone there, but some of these like I've run the monthly zones and some of them I've managed to put in an alert higher, but others not. So yeah, just need to see whether these are going to hold higher lows here. And like I say, from looking at all the A's today, like it's quite tenuous. Like some of them do look a bit more dodgy than others. So I really need to be careful with analysing these and be careful of jumping into longs at inappropriate moments. Wait till you see a bounce, wait till you see sort of 8 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour demand formed is what I tend to recommend if you've got a decent sized drop, like not on Bitcoin but on the alts, like we've got such a big drop. It tends to be worth waiting to higher time frames rather than trying to FOMO in on a 15-minute candle or something like that. Anyway, I don't think there's much else to say now. So like I say, I still need to do the higher time frame analysis on Bitcoin, Ether and the whole market, but I really want to get on top of all the alts first. So we can see now actually, let's just go for that on Ether so you can see what I was saying about this pattern here earlier at the start of the video. So a very common pattern that you see, I've drawn it a number of times before, where you get a triangle. Triangle consolidations just never seem to hold well on retests, like even if they end up as a monthly demand in here. Triangle consolidation, if it then breaks up and then does a rounded top, that's a very, so as you can see here, that triangle, rounded top, dump through, and then it won't hold this zone. Exactly the same here, and we saw this a lot. This is a pattern I kind of learned, I guess, on Bitcoin back in, it was like below 10k, like it was back, even like you can see there's a triangle, and then it was a bit more messy because of the ETF stuff, but triangle and then roll over here, triangle then roll over. Not so much a triangle there, but still rolled over. Here, triangle, roll over. Very common, but you have to see the rollover. So, like, it can have a triangle and just break up. So don't assume like the triangle is going to roll over. Like, so here the triangle did this, that broke up significantly. It did kind of roll over a little bit there, but didn't come back through the triangle in that case. So it doesn't always happen. And again here we had the bigger triangle and the rollover, but again it didn't take out the lows. But yeah, I think I saw it, it was around here, when was this? March 2020. In the lower time frames we had a lot of them in here. So if you go back and look at the lower time frames you can sort of see there, I won't change the time frame now because, but rollover, and yeah, a lot on the lower time frames, and again here triangle, rollover, the bigger picture this is consolidated and moved, but very common pattern to look for, and then you want to just be wary. I can see another one there, triangle, rollover, but yeah, it just means be wary of looking for longs on the triangle demand, and I guess it's probably because you've got so many stops before the triangle, or sort of they've got stops below the triangle which haven't been taken out, and I think that's probably why it's doing it more than anything. It just targets the stops. So Bitcoin doesn't have the same pattern now, although actually to some extent it did have it here, but then obviously we had the 100k move as well, but that went and took out the stops. But even here, I guess triangle, and now this is potentially doing a bigger rollover, maybe to take the stops from down here, but we'll see. Anyway, this has been a 3-hour stream, but a reasonable amount of talking in it, at least at the beginning. So if you haven't watched the beginning, I suggest going back to watch the beginning, because it actually worked out as quite a good format, with going through the charts I did yesterday, because I was able to do them quickly. So rather than having to do them in silence, because that's just too much talking for 3 hours, I was able to, quickly go through each of the charts and just show where the levels are, and with some thoughts throughout. And then second half of the video, I've gone on to talk about, to be silent and without the camera, without the mic, and just chart. So I might try and do at the start of the video tomorrow, then go through the alts that I silently charted today, and just see how that format works. I'm just not sure if it's not going to take up too much time. And then it'll be June before I get around to actually finishing the annual updates on all these alts. Anyway, as always, any questions in the chat, let me know. Any requests, let me know, and I can share any charts in the chat if you actually want to see the image of it. But I hope this is useful, and have a good day.